Hey everybody, Bob Chick, the voice of bodybuilding, back. Look who we found at the Phil Heath Classic. Who else but Phil Heath?
Exactly.
Phil, welcome to your own show.
Exactly, man. We're back in action here. But this time it's in Pasadena, Texas, at a new venue. And I really feel like this is the greatest venue we've had so far.
Listen, almost 600 large going across the stage. I know you and Ed got big plans next year to supersize this thing up, but we'll get into that a little bit later on. Right now, Phil, we got to get to modern times, man. What's going on today? Everybody wants to know what's going on with Phil Heath. What are you doing these days?
Well, I'm on a different type of circuit. I'm actually on a global speaking circuit. So taking everything that I've learned throughout these 43 years of life, especially with the championships that I've acquired, and reminding everybody that they can champion through life doing these various steps that I've done. And that's really the coolest thing so far, because winning the Olympia is very unrelatable.
Yeah,
extremely unrelatable. But the levels of mental fortitude and understanding how to have sustained peak performance for years on end, going against other people and even people online, and criticism, and dealing with the mental health issues that go along with social media. How do you focus on one particular craft while still trying to balance your own personal life? So that's been really cool. Of course, I've been doing a lot of different projects back in the supplement game, so be sure to talk about that. So I've been laying low because during COVID, my wife and I, we looked at each other and we're like, you know what? We got Phil Heath Classic. We were just launched like 6 months prior to COVID.
Right.
We looked at each other and said,
bad timing.
The timing is wrong. How about we not double down during a crisis, right? So let's just go ahead and reinvest that money into ourselves while everybody else was watching Netflix. Sheree and I were watching documentaries. We were watching and we're reading different books, calling up different resources, planning our attack, lining up the dominoes accordingly, and making those solid, real relationships that now we can launch something that actually has real legs and longevity. So yeah, we have that going on.
Now, you've done kind of a soft launch. I know it's kind of sort out there. Is there a hard launch date or anything like that that's going to be kind of out there? And
you're going to see a simple reel on Instagram or LinkedIn. Sure. And after that, it's going to be everywhere.
Is this soon coming?
This is something that's going to happen within, I'd say, the next 6 months.
Well, that's
very soon, because of course we have the Olympia coming up. So there's some timing. And that's the other part of learning, being an entrepreneur, understanding that it's all about sequence. The timing has to be right, kind of like bodybuilding,
right?
So you can't just always get, just because I have the money, I mean, I have the right resources, right? I mean, I have the experience. So just taking a deep breath and saying, where can I build a team to where they're tried and true? Let's just make sure that we be of most service to our customers. So we have that. We have our documentary called Breaking Olympia. It's already won a film festival award in Florence, Italy, and it's already been picked up by a major Hollywood studio. Can't tell you which one, but it's the first of its kind to actually get a studio release.
Now, when's that coming out?
This year.
Come on, Phil.
So he brings me on.
And he thought inside scoop that you're looking for here at the VOB. You want a release date? Is it this year?
It is this year.
Okay, so
it's this year. So everything that I'm telling you is this year. So we're doing that. Of course, I've been, been able to work with various companies, flexible meals, but also I just signed with Gymshark, so we're doing a lot of different activations with them.
And you're getting ready for the Masters Olympia. How do you balance
all this stuff? And the Masters Olympia.
Rumor mill has been going crazy. Why on God's green earth would anybody think that you might entertain the idea of going in the Masters Olympia? Or is it?
You know, I was on Jay Cutler's podcast, and I think that's where it started, because he's doing this fitness after 50 thing.
Right.
Which, God bless him, I mean, that's great. For me, Jay said, like, if they paid a certain amount of money, he would do it. I mean, I understand that part too, but I'll be honest, it's got to be more than just a two-day headline for me. And I know how everybody thinks, and I really do, because I am Kasparov and Karpov when it comes to the grand mastery of this chess game of bodybuilding. If I were to do this show, everybody's going to say, why didn't you do the regular one? It just makes sense. You look phenomenal. Or you're scared, this and that. So I understand these things so well that does it really serve me? So I would have to really have a compelling argument, because I try to play both sides, right?
What would be a magic number? Just purely hypothetical.
Like so I heard you on I think you were with Fuad or someone else, it was with Dennis James. You guys were talking about it. And you were talking about like, oh yeah, if someone threw $100,000 hit, they would have to literally, seriously, 7 times. I produce a lot of numbers. I know my worth, and it's worth way more than 100 grand. I mean, at this, I'm just gonna be upfront. We're in a sport where, in my opinion, where certain personalities, certain athletes bring so much value that there should be something to nudge them. No different than, hey, if we want this UFC fighter, or if we want a person come from boxing into the UFC, or vice versa, or whatever, we're willing to pay a fee. And I think that's just business. But unfortunately, that conversation doesn't exist.
Give me a magic number, Phil. I am going to negotiate
You're
this
not
for
the one
you.
that's going to get it done.
So is it 250,000? Is it 500,000?
It's
for $1 million cool dollars? Can I get the gift back on stage?
Well, with the U.S. dollar right now, is that even
Yeah,
gonna be worth anything?
No, that's before taxes.
Yeah,
Right.
but
But
seriously,
is there a number like that you would say, you know what? I will actually entertain you for that number.
oh yeah, there's definitely a number. I mean, but they have to come up with what makes sense. I don't need to.
What
sing-
makes sense to you?
I'm not going to sing from a supper at this point. And that's not arrogant. That's just the same thing. Like when you're at, we would have to have a meeting of the minds and actually figure out like, hey, how would this make sense for you guys? If I said, hey, $1 million, they're going to say, well, why? We don't really need you. And I could say, well, how can we make that happen? There's phone calls that can be made to actually produce. And here's one of the major things that, in my opinion, this sport could benefit from is having someone like myself who has a large community of people that are very famous and have lots of resources, especially financially, come together and actually figure out how can we make certain things work, not just for guys like me, but look, if I make it, then the next person's going to make it.
Let me ask you this. Is it something we would want to see? And we all talk hypothetical and all this kind of stuff, but do we want to see the old guys back on stage?
No,
Or is that something that's
I don't
really
think
of
so.
interest?
No,
right?
I think you would be better off paying and I brought this up years ago. I say you guys would be better off just paying guys like me and Kai Green and just let the fans decide.
So, you know, that would be a cool idea, right?
That would actually make a lot of
Real
sense.
fans' choice type of thing.
Yeah, like
right?
and yeah, I mean,
Not a full-blown show, but right, but more of a dream matchup type of
right,
thing.
it is what it is. Like,
who would you call out other than Kai? Like, if you had to go right now, okay, Phil, listen, I got this pile of money I just got raised. Right, we're going to do this idea. You're like, give me 2 or 3 names of saying, you know what, I wouldn't mind having like Kai and.
There's really nobody else. I mean, everybody knows in their heart that like Kai and I bring a different type of energy to the bodybuilding stage. I think everybody would want to see that through social media. Right now, when this gets posted, people are going to make reaction videos off of what we just said. Therefore, that's the only matchup that anyone would ever want to see. So
That's fair.
Why do you want to see anybody else? Is the really cool thing about Kai and myself that I've learned over the course of 10, 15 years is they respect our hard work. They respect the dedication of what bodybuilding means. And everybody had to choose a side at one point. So we actually brought forth real fight. There was nothing fabricated.
No.
Everybody knew that.
And thanks for saying that, because I get that shit all the time. And I think we all kind of got back together backstage. We said, okay, Phil, you're going to see this, and you're going to say this, and you know the now famous mic drop of, you know, Phil, give me 3 reasons.
Yeah.
That was none of that was scripted.
None of it was. I mean, the pure essence of competition was, to me, at its peak when he and I were going at it, because they knew it really meant something. And it doesn't negate what everybody else is vying for. It's just when you can put 2 people in a room and everyone else starts watching how you handle each other. Like if Kai walked in here right now, everybody would stop talking.
Of course.
Even yourself, right? You'd
It's
be
like
like,
it crazy.
well, maybe, right? But those are those type of matchups. But hey, you know, I'm all about how could we present value to the fans. Kai and myself, we can go on a book tour for crying out loud and impact millions of people. We could do that individually, but obviously we're talking about bodybuilding. I think at Masters Olympia, I knew something was going to happen because they said 45 and up.
Right.
And the minute that happened, I said, because everybody's hitting me up, and I was like, guys, I'm 43.
Yeah, I was going to say,
and then 2 weeks later, it goes down to 40. So
I don't think they thought maybe initially there was that kind of. Listen, there's not a lot of guys over 45 that are in that kind of shape that we really would want to even see back. So
that's the other
I think that
part.
was a smart play.
yeah, I think.
But you know what? Let's see it pan out. Let's see where it goes. I get
Do
a
you
feeling.
think that all of the divisions should be? That's the other part.
I'm a little partial to, like, I would have gone about it a different way personally, but I don't know if it warrants all that, but you know what? I got to give big shout out to Jake.
Yeah.
Because he's willing to put it up. He will put the money up. He will do what he wants to do with it, and it's all good for the sport in its entirety. So whether we agree, disagree, or anything like that, listen, I got to give the guy credit.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
He puts his money where his mouth is. He says, "I want to try this." And listen, not everything's a home run.
No,
But
you can still score. You know, you can still hit some singles and doubles.
Yeah,
and
that's
stuff.
what I mean. You can hit a nice, solid double, right?
Well, I definitely believe that there's a lot of competitors, and we were just talking about open class. When you talk about the women's side of things, there's a lot of women nowadays that are understanding how to increase their longevity to where maybe they can't quite peak when they were in their 20s or early 30s, but now they have like the real muscle maturity, and they just like to compete. So there's a lot of people, I think, that need to be recruited for this. And I think
I can see next year this being
right.
a lot bigger, where there was a recruitment system.
I think that's where and there's going to be some people that are quite hesitant because of it being a new thing. So
I agree.
There's going to be some gun shy, but that's where recruitment comes. I think that's where Jake Wood has the resources. He has the people that can go talk to him, talk to these athletes. If Jake Wood calls you and you pick up the phone and you tell him, "Hey, these are my thoughts," he's going to listen.
Sure.
He and I had great conversations about me commentating in Olympia, and it was really cool to actually have that dialogue. So for anyone that is actually interested, you should just, I'd say, go for this first year. Don't wait till the second year because you just might win the damn thing this year.
Yeah.
So
listen, you got rave review on your commentary at the Olympia. I think people really enjoyed. We had the pleasure of getting you out in Boston. People got kind of a little preview of you, and Dexter joined in. Great commentary. Like, so you got all kinds of accolades. Olympia was even better, but let's get your thoughts now that you're away from the microphone on the Olympia. Adi Chupan ends up winning. I actually called that one months and months ago because I kind of see it coming. Do you see Hadi as a repeat champ, or is he a one and done? He's going to have his hands full this year.
I think he's a repeat champion. I do, and here's why. You got to look at someone's origin. Champions have a specific origin of how they got here in the first place, right? Hadi came from nothing.
Yeah.
So you think of someone that has grown up in that environment in Iran, right? Everything matters. Where the lights would get shut off at certain periods of time, rolling blackouts and stuff like that. This thing means everything to him and his country. So there's a lot of expectations, but he's met those expectations in a very quick period of time if you think about it. And he's never really been off.
We haven't seen him off. No,
and
very consistent.
And think about it, the year prior, they were like, "Oh, his shoulders are this, that, and the other." He fixed it. So that's what champions do. And we also have seen the decline, unfortunately, with Rami.
Speaking of fixing it, can Big Rami fix it, or is that ship sailed?
I'm not going to tell someone what they can and can't do. All I can observe and accept is what the judges do, right? So after he made improvements, in my opinion, his last show, if they've moved on by that placing, then maybe they've moved on.
Did you have many higher at the Arnold or no?
I was able to watch, not in person.
Yeah.
I was just watching from a little screen, right? And when he walked out, I was like, holy God.
Yeah,
it's like
he's
this
impressive.
guy's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But of course, I'm not able to see the finer details. I felt like he looked better than Olympia, and right away.
He did look better than you.
And I thought, is he gonna fade? And I thought, well, maybe they brought him in too like full, which is so silly because I remember a guy said that about me to Hani, like, yeah, he brought Phil in too full. It's
a little too muscular, Phil.
Right? So I gotta understand how it could blur out certain lines. I think with Rami, everybody keeps saying he has to be a certain way. I think Rami just needs to be who he wants to be, and it's unfortunate that with social media, the microscope, and I said this to him multiple times. I've said it online about, like, when he won, I said, congratulations, you won in 2020. If I was peaked, it might have been different. And that's all with respect of what I'm telling him, and this is how I'm saying it. I said, you have to be better. Promise me you'll be better. Because if you be better, you're gonna run with it. Right? And he said, I will. The problem is that sometimes in the mind, the body doesn't respond. Everybody gets injured. Everybody gets hurt. And, we hear about these things like nowadays, like with the stem cell treatments and this and that and the other. I don't really understand all that. I had stem cells in my knee after that 2020 Olympia. I had a torn MCL, but it wasn't a.
Did it do anything for you or not?
Oh yeah, I mean, I was able to squat again and lunge like without any pain. But as far as like something cosmetic,
Right.
as far as like aesthetically pleasing, I don't understand that.
Well, and yours
how
was
that
an
works.
actual. I mean, he may have actual injury. He's obviously got something going on,
Right.
right? But I guess the question would be: has it taken his physique down a notch? Where, and at the same time, competition has come up. Samson clearly put out a great physique.
Yes.
Nick Walker, who comes in very conditioned, very Branch Warren like. He kind of hates like a Branch Warren 2.0.
Yep.
Andrew Jack, this guy's a complete monster. He's come out of nowhere,
Yeah.
but he's really come up. So it does look like there's some better talent when it comes to overall structure, the physique,
Yeah.
symmetry, proportionate.
Yeah.
So is it just a matter of like a sign of the times where it's like, well, we've kind of swung into a
I
position,
feel like they've kind of
like when Flex and Chris and those guys were kicking around.
it's tough.
Has it come back around?
It's tough because I do believe at some point we just the way our eyes are, we're gonna get tired of the same thing because it's not being dominant. And unfortunately, Rami hasn't been highly consistent with a specific package that could beat all of these up and comers. That there are giving these guys. Look, they gave Samson Data all the opportunities in the world at the Olympia, and he moved up as he should have, and then he carried that momentum and then won, right?
But got better.
And got better.
Because if he didn't get any better from the Olympics,
No.
he would have been a 6.
So I think there's got to be a resurgence, and we're talking about Rami still. There has to be a resurgence of a new physique, and we all have had to do it. I've had to change. I mean, I haven't looked the same throughout my career. There's been slight tweaks here and there with more density, more shape,
more mature physique.
right.
As you get
If we
older.
could see that, that's something that we're going to hyper focus on. When, in my opinion, when you get to a place where people start hyper focusing on one or two different body parts, it's very tough.
You know that more than anybody.
Well, everybody hyper
Was
focused.
anybody not zeroed in right here at their head, right? I mean,
because
boom.
because that's what I'm talking about. The lens. You're gonna when you turn pro, when you're at an amateur show, very basic lens. You're on a slide, and that microscope gets 25 to 50 to 150 to 200, and then on and on and on. When I'm at 7-time Mr. Olympia trying to win number 8, it's at 1,000. But I'm also being creative. But let's be real. That 1,000 is not being on everyone else either. No. And we are able to see that now because now that the lens is been heightened on Rami, we are now taking that physique with that lens and kind of hitting them hard saying, we expect you to look like this. And although these guys may not be getting hit with the same lens yet, we're not burying you. Like, look, it's not a political thing. It's just we want more. And unfortunately, in the sport of bodybuilding, you have to know what you're signing up for. You have to understand that your best is always going to be good enough. I truly believe in that. But you have to understand, this is very hard to say, I see Phil's stomach and I can't stop looking at it. But I'm going to make up something in my mind that is going to distract me from everything else. Rami has a dent, or so-and-so has a shoulder injury, or whatever. I'm going to hyper-focus on it because that's what everybody does on social media. They circle, they do charts, they do all these different analytics.
By the way, I do like the fact that the word dense has come in like he's an old Buick.
Right.
So
So this is
this isn't a word we've ever associated with physique before. He's got dense.
But I will say this. I think what we need to learn, and this is something that I'll be chatting with on my own show at some point, is stop hyper-focusing on the bullshit. Because you're actually tarnishing an incredible physique. If a Ferrari actually has a scratch on the hood, it's still freaking dope. Quit making it seem like it's ruined. And I think that's what's happening with critics on Rami and on other people. And it sure as hell.
To what extent, though, Phil? Like, let me ask you this, because you're always straight up.
Yeah.
Do you have Rami beating Samson at the Arnold, or you
No,
just think he
I'm
should have
just saying-
merited a little bit better consideration?
I'm just saying that we should still appreciate the physiques that we're seeing. The judges are going to do what
Absolutely.
they do.
Right.
So I'm not bent about it. I have no horse in this race. I'm just saying when we are critiquing someone, it is what it is, man.
Do you think people have gone a little bit too far with their, like, this guy's gone, he's buried?
Yeah, they should.
Or I told him to retire.
Well, okay, so let's just say you did.
I didn't.
No, I know you didn't, but let's just say you did. Telling someone that they should retire isn't necessarily. It could be looked at a very. And I'm not putting words in your mouth. I'm just saying.
I got you.
It could be taken a totally different way. It's just saying, look, like if you're not able to win this show, and you've now gone from winning an Olympia to fifth, and now you're staying at fifth, and they have now decided to move on from your physique, you might want to consider what it's going to take to then move up. And if they tell you you need to do X, Y, Z, and you can say, well, I don't know if I can do that, then the writing may be on the wall, and you may have to make a decision to say, you know what?
That's a very good way to put it. Yeah.
It's just a business at that point. It's just, and it's hard because your emotions are tied into this. Your fans are tied. Your family's, you know, like it's everything for us. So you almost feel like a failure, but you're not. And you're going to be hyper-focused on what you hear. So as an athlete, you can't always be hyper-focused on what people have to say. If anything, you double down on your efforts and you let the cards play out. And honestly, do what I did. Say fuck them and go to the gym and just train your ass off and film it. And then your fans will love you forever because they understand that you gave a damn about your success. But the placings don't always tell your story. They tell a story. They tell a story about what happened. Your story is about how you handled it and how you move on from it. So I don't really know at this point like what he should do. I do know this. I talked to Chad afterwards, and they said, yeah, we wanted to bring him in full in this net. I think that was actually a good idea. It was good for me to see because it was exciting for me. So we don't know, and we'll just have to.
Who looks like Mr. Olympia to you?
Me.
Let's take all the bulls.
Me
other
again.
than a 7-time
No,
champ.
me.
But nobody better ask but a 7-time champ.
No.
When you look up there right now, we're gonna once again go down that road, Phil. Everybody's gotta be 100%. We go to the Olympia this year. Everybody nails it. Samson, Nick, Brandon, even Robbie, right? He hits it. Hottie hits it, right? Everybody's 100%. Who in your mind do you initially look at and go, that's a Mr. Olympia?
I mean, right now, when we say 100%,
everybody.
But that's the problem.
Of course.
Because now I got to go back in time and say the favorite physique that I admire of Rami isn't the physique that is here today.
We got to go with right now, though.
So that's tough.
Yeah, we can't go back 5 years.
So now I have to pick a Rami that plays fifth at the Army.
Right.
So it's going to be Hottie all day because he's got the maturity. And what people don't understand, we don't know what this dude looks like right now. This guy's in the freaking gym. This guy would have did the Arnold if he was able to. That's freaking scary. This guy doesn't give a shit about what anyone has to say. He is in that gym more passionately present than probably anyone right now. A lot of people would think that, oh yeah, you know, once you win a title, you know, it's easier to chase people than to be chased.
Let's go down. Hang on. Let's go down this road because we got just a couple minutes to go. If who's got the best shot of beating Hottie? Is it Derek Lunsford because he was second to him last year? Is it Samson that we saw his reemergence now when he's a little bit bigger and all that? Is it an Andrew Jack? Who do you see that has the best shot? If you got to pick somebody and say,
this year
it's going to be an upset. This is my guy.
This year, I would say it would either be it's a three-headed monster at this point. It's either a Derek. Because I can make a case for Derek, I can make a case for Nick. I can also make it, and Nick is an anomaly because it's very different. It's the physique that you say Branchborn 2.0. I totally understand that. I think if he if there was a way for, let's say, Nick to do what Branch did in 09, then it's a clear cut. Like it's him and Hottie going at it. Like it's going to be freaking. It's going to cancel a lot of guys out because of the density and the muscle maturity that he has. Because those two probably won't be out conditioned. But the cool thing about Derek is that now he's comfortable in that open body.
Now he's had a whole other year.
Exactly.
Right.
So he bypassed the Arnold for a good reason. And now, you know, we already know he's a hard worker. We know he has a great support system. We know he has a great coach. So he's going to do what he needs to do. So it's very difficult. You got, you know, Samson as well. If Samson Dowda actually, in my opinion, actually gets a little bit more density in that back, he's extremely dangerous because he's got the legs, he's got the hamstrings, he's got the glutes. If he can get more 3D in that back, it is a problem because he's taller, he's bigger. I think Andrew
reminds me of somebody else that I remember from
years ago.
Yeah,
a guy that was told that he would never have the width or the muscle maturity to win the Olympia because he had narrow clavicles.
Clavicles.
and I won 7 of them.
When's
so
the clavicle round, by the way?
I don't know,
I
but
think it was next to the bench press round.
but I do think, and I know we got to wrap it up, but I do think that the Olympia this year is going to be extremely competitive, and I really hope that all of them stay healthy. I don't want to. I pray that they're all healthy, no injuries, and that he can peak.
Yeah, let them fight it out.
Because it's going to be a lot of calls, but I do believe that if Hadi is doing his due diligence, he's going to be in that middle, and it's going to be tough for these guys. But I got to see Derek again. Because when I saw him backstage, dude, I'm telling you, I was like, bro, like you could actually freaking win this thing.
Win this thing, man.
And he has no fear. So it's.
Are we ever going to see, in our lifetimes, in our bodybuilding lifetimes, are we going to see anybody approach your record or Ronnie Coleman and the great Lee Haney's record, Phil? Do you see it, Emma, or no?
Yes and no. I say yes because records, like Ronnie would tell me, records are meant to be broken. I say no because that same person is probably doing a different division and they have the misbelief that they can't be big enough to do it. Because you got to have the age and you got to have the timing.
That guy might be on your stage right now that we hear in the background.
Correct. So that's the other part because I wasn't coming up in the NPC having the different divisions, right? Ronnie didn't either.
Right.
Jay didn't either. So when you have a person that says, oh, well, I can't do open because they're too big and they're doing men's physique, that's cool because maybe they go from men's physique to then classic. But if there's a person out there that's watching this that says, you know what, I'm going to take Phil's advice. I am going to do men's physique. I am then going to allow my body to naturally get bigger. And then if I actually show qualities of doing another category, then I just go ahead and do it. I do classic. I don't stay there. You know who I was thinking about the other day? What if Brendan Hendricks did classic?
Good hypothetical, bro.
That's where my mind goes because I think about physiques. I think about roundness. I think of, so I'm thinking, well, who could also do this? But as far as like an open class guy, I really believe that it's a person that is maybe a little nervous and maybe need better guidance from a coach.
So you think the threat could actually come from within?
I think
Could a Brandon Hendrickson supersize it up a little bit and take out a Chris Bumstead, in your opinion?
I don't know, but it would be nice to see because I don't know what he weighs.
So let's take the weight out of that.
No. You can't take the
physique wise.
No. You can't take the weight out of it. That's what I'm talking about. If I heard that he weighs like under 190 pounds, so at his height, that means that he could gain like 15 more pounds. That's a lot. So I'm thinking, well, because I'm gonna say it right now. A lot of people may hate it. Bumstead is so far ahead than everyone else right now that it's very, very difficult because you got to have the back that he has to even compete. So in order to do that, you may need someone that already has a base. Brandon is the only one that has a base. If he could do that, if he chose to do that, he may actually wow himself and a lot of other people. But that's a hypothetical, but I'm using that as an example.
Yeah, but it's a great conversation starter.
But how there's other athletes that currently compete in the amateurs and even the pros that may have in their mind said, this is all I can be. What you guys are bodybuilders. It doesn't mean that you're open. It doesn't mean you're a bodybuilder. I say take the limiters off of your mind and say, you know what? Maybe I could. Let me hit these shots because everyone hits the side chest. They all hit the most muscular. They all hit these same poses.
Bumstead in the open.
I think he can do it. Sean Ray thinks he can win it.
Yeah, he has said that.
So I think it's all about allowing your mind to just say, what if? I mean, hell, I'm 5'9" and a half. And I started out in the NPC. I did my first show literally 20 years ago in April of 2003.
That's right. Yeah.
And I weighed 190 pounds. And then I competed at my last Olympia at 245. So you can gain 50 pounds of stage muscle within that period of time and actually maybe win some titles. But most importantly, what if I would have said, this is all I can be? I can only be 190 pounds. I can only be 200 pounds. We have never have seen this. So that's what I try to tell guys, even at my show,
good
is
advice.
Don't put limiters on yourself, ever. If you think you can't, you won't. If you're taking your clothes off anyway, just hit a couple shots and be like,
go for the big bucks.
Well, and then there's the money part. I mean, it is what it is.
You're not going to get any better advice from the champ himself, 7-time Olympian champ, the gift. Phil Heath. Phil, as always, we could talk for hours, but if we can ever capture one of these with our cigar time, we'll really get a show. But for right now, that's going to wrap it up here for the Voice of Bodybuilding.